You only need 2 indicators on Pocket Option to close more than 8 out of 10 trades in profit. All you need is the right entry point and the right setup. So let's take a look at this strategy in action. Look, let's check out an example trade on the British pound and Swiss franc. We've got a lot of parameters to work with. But how do we find that exact entry point we need? We've got 2 main lines, red and green. We're going to use them as our main entry point on the ADX. So when these 2 lines cross, break time equals 0.5s/, that's the exact moment we'll open a trade either to sell or to buy. So when do we open a buy trade? When the green line crosses above the red line. For example, just like it happened here. Right? So we see the green line came up from below, crossed the red line, and kept moving higher. That means we could have entered a buy trade here. Next, right here, we had a crossover, the red line moved above. So, I opened a sell trade. Honestly, it's all very simple and clear. But we also have 2 more indicators, and there's a reason we need them here. Or rather, not 2 indicators, but 2 parameters. This is the ADX line, in this case, the turquoise one. And we also have a moving average. So why do we even need them? Let's talk about that in the next trade. But first, let's talk about the indicators, how to add them and how to set them up. To start, you need to go to the Indicators tab. Then, select Moving Average here. And you also need to select ADX. You select these 2 indicators and add them to your chart. And, as you can see, they have very different default settings. So, you add all of that, and now you need to set them up. How do you set them up? Let me show you. I shared the settings for these 2 indicators in our Telegram channel, which you can find right now via the link in the description. I specifically configured these indicators so they would deliver 8 out of 10 successful trades. So go to our Telegram channel right now and grab the ready-made settings for these 2 indicators from there. So all you need to do is check the description right now or follow the link in the pinned comment, subscribe to our channel, and then you'll get these exact settings. In short, the link is down below. Be sure to check it out and grab these settings. Now, let's move on to entry points. And why do we even need additional lines? Look, here's a pretty good currency pair, Australian dollar and Japanese yen. I'm opening a buy trade right away. Let's break down this trade and talk about why we need these extra lines in the first place. First of all, we have a crossover, the green line crosses the red one. So, that's a pretty good buy signal. Next, the price is above our moving average. So that's another safety factor for a buy trade. And the blue line is right in the middle. So basically, that's a neutral factor. Right now, it's not really indicating anything for us. We'll talk more about the blue line later. So basically, we have an entry point, we have confirmation in the form of the moving average, and, well, let's say, a neutral position from this ADX line. That's why this should be a fairly safe 1-minute buy trade. Let's watch how this trade plays out. Next, we'll talk about the ADX line, since it actually affects a pretty important parameter as well. This trade brings me $1,400, so I'm already in a pretty good profit. Alright, let's talk about the ADX line. Basically, the ADX line shows us whether an asset is overbought or oversold. So if we observe at this moment that the blue line is clearly on top, that's generally a very good sign to carefully look for sell trades. Break time equals 0.5s/. In the same way, when the blue line is at the bottom, that's a really good sign to look for buy trades. So we'll be able to see when the market is, say, oversold or, on the contrary, overheated, and we need to let off a little steam. For example, look here. The price was moving up very actively, without any corrections. And this line is exactly what shows that movement. Then we get a correction, and the market starts moving sideways again. So all of this was a sideways movement. Look, the ADX line is more or less in the middle. So the market is balanced, and we can safely open trades. So when you see some kind of crossover, like here, for example, where this line is rising, that's when we should be looking at selling opportunities. Since we have a very strong upward movement without any correction, and the ADX line is showing us the same thing. Most likely, somewhere around here we'll see a drop like this. So, at this crossover, we can spot it in advance and profit from it. Let's look at another example. I'll try to find an example specifically with the ADX line, but I can't promise. It's a pretty rare situation. Here we have a crossover on the euro to British pound, and I open my buy trade. So, the crossover here wasn't that significant. And moreover, look. Let's go over again how I do my analysis. So first, it's the crossover itself. Second, the price is above the moving average. And third, it's the ADX line. I see that it's in the middle, so the market is balanced. It's neither overbought nor oversold, which means everything should go smoothly for us. Work out. So, you have a simple algorithm. Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3. Accordingly, you just need to follow all these conditions, repeat them, and apply them. Let me remind you once again that I will post the settings for these two indicators in our Telegram channel. So head over there and grab the settings for these two indicators, which will help you make 80% profitable trades. And with that, the trade closes at a loss. It's pretty unpleasant, but apparently something didn't go according to plan. That happens, so let's make the next trade for $2,500 and cover this move right now. Apparently, I missed something in my analysis. Maybe volatility let me down, or maybe the market just slipped. I don't want to guess, I just want to cover this loss. Here, we have a pretty good entry point on the euro-dollar. So, what do we see? The market is a bit overheated right now, of course. That is, we can see the ADX line is somewhere up top, and there was a crossover right here. Accordingly, the price is above the moving average, so we can open our buy trade. But this overheating doesn't really scare me, because as you can see, it's dropping a bit. So really, we could see this kind of impulse and then suddenly drop sharply afterwards. Let's watch this trade. Basically, it's not surprising we had a downward movement. That is, at first we oversold the asset a lot. You can even see it by the ADX line, and now we're buying it back a bit too much. So, it's quite a roller coaster ride with this currency pair. But that's absolutely normal for these currency pairs. Especially with the euro-dollar, this kind of thing will happen all the time here because of the latest news events. Yeah, as you can see, we're making $1,950, covering our loss. And as you can see, this strategy really works, just two indicators, and you can take all this profit. So, you can get the settings for these two indicators from the link in the description. I'll also leave a link in the pinned comment. If you have any questions, just write to our support account. The team there will help you out and answer all your questions. Basically, I'll leave all the links in the description. Be sure to check them out, grab these indicator settings, and trade along with them. That's it for now. I'll say goodbye and see you in the next videos.